From the governments of the Philippines, Department of Justice, Department of Interior and Local Governance, the Ambassador of South Africa, representatives from Pakistan, from Australia, my dear friends, magandang umaga sa inyo lahat. Good morning, buenos días. After the quite energetic speech from my predecessor in Tagalog, it will be a big challenge for me to express myself in English. Today, in Muntinlupa, where I'm living, my house is close to this installation. Nelson Mandela's Day. And as you know, the United Nations, we have during the year a number of celebrations. We have the World Food Day, we have the World Refugee Day, the Day of Biodiversity, but every time we try to celebrate Nelson Mandela's Day, we are in a very uncomfortable situation because Nelson Mandela represented so many things. Are we going to celebrate Nelson Mandela's fighting against racism, discrimination, exclusion? Are we going to celebrate the Nelson Mandela's promoting peace across the world? Are we going to celebrate the Nelson Mandela's head of state when he translated into legislations and policies children's rights, women's rights, gender equality rights? Are we going to celebrate the Nelson Mandela when he went to Davos, to Switzerland, and spoke to head of state saying that inclusion is a fundamental element of sustainable development? In fact, we are going to celebrate all of that. Nelson Mandela is conveying a leadership that is a comprehensive leadership that relates to peace, relates to freedom, relates to development, relates to human rights, relates to environment. And dear friends, the most interesting part of this leadership is that Nelson Mandela was a powerful leader demonstrating humility. Humility is one of the distinctive characteristics of Nelson Mandela, which is a lesson for all of us. It's a lesson for current leaders these times that are basing his or her leadership on arrogance, elitism, and discrimination. So this is what we celebrate today. We celebrate a type of leadership very much when we look at the challenges that we have in these days. So in 2015, allow me to refer to something that is very much related to all of you and to the authorities here present. In 2015, the United Nations extended the scope of legacy of Nelson Mandela in naming, in giving a title to the United Nations Standard Minimum Rules for the Treatment of Prisoners. So these rules that we have, that they are standards and should be applied everywhere, they are the Nelson Mandela's rules. These are the golden standards for uplifting the lives of persons deprived of liberty and the foundation for our work in the support of criminal justice and prison reform in the Philippines. And celebrate, dear friends, the fact that shortly, I think that was 2 years ago, Secretary Remulla, in his trip to Vienna, where we have the headquarters of the UN Office on Drugs and Crime, decided to include the Philippines as one of the friends of the Nelson Mandela's rules. So all the congratulations to this government and of justice for this historic decision. In December of last year, in partnership with the Justice Sector Coordinating Council, the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime, represented here, we have members of this distinguished Office of the United Nations. With the government, we conducted the first National Decongestion Summit to sustain the impetus on reform of the criminal justice system towards a human rights-based approach.